We know we ask a lot from our patron and support network, and we are always so grateful for your generosity. In these challenging times, it's even harder to raise the funding we need to serve our community and achieve our goals. So we're always looking for new ways to maintain our revenue without adding additional burdens to our supporters. Today, we're excited to share a great opportunity that can really help our community and requires no additional out-of-pocket from you. We've partnered with the Liberty Company Insurance Brokers and their Liberty Cares program. Liberty Cares is simple. You already make monthly payments for your insurance needs, whether it's auto, home, or for your business. For every line of insurance you move to Liberty, they will donate 25% of the commissions they receive on your policies back to our cause. And under this special partnership arrangement, that donation will come to us again and again every year you keep your policy with Liberty. Often, you'll be able to move your insurance into this program simply by signing one form. It's that easy. The Liberty Company is one of the nation's largest insurance brokers, and they've won a number of recognitions for their excellent operations and workplace culture, so you can rest assured that you will be well taken care of. If you would like to learn more about how this new partnership with Liberty can help turn your insurance dollars into much-needed funds for our community, please visit libertycompany.com/libertycares, or shoot them an email at libertycares@libertycompany.com. And please be sure to let them know that you're part of our community so that they will credit the benefit of your policies back to our organization. Your ongoing support is much appreciated, so thank you in advance.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, and show number 14.
I think so. I think show Lucky 14. This is a very special show.
Special show, or an extended version of mental health wellness check-in.
This is a very important show to me personally. I think that I was blown away by the amount of letters and emails I got when we talked about having this show. Special needs parents are constantly going through stress. We're living with chronic stress. And one of the ways that stress kind of manufactures for me personally is in chronic pain. I was diagnosed, I think, almost 20 years ago with fibromyalgia and arthritis. And I would go through periods where it would get almost invisible, where I wouldn't even feel it. And other times where it would incapacitate me, where I could barely walk. I would say in the last couple of years, it's gotten really, really bad again. And in the last 4 months, which coincides with our pandemic, I feel like I'm in a constant flare. Mm-hmm. And so today's show is about chronic pain in caregivers. And I think it's a widespread condition with special needs parents.
Mm-hmm. And even, not just today's show, we're focusing on that and for our families in the special needs community, but also myself, I have some occasional spots that flare up that might be associated with arthritis or maybe some type of inflammatory something. I always go to Dr. Google, and I know I shouldn't really, but I have these different areas on my body. And so later today, we're going to be talking about treatments. Mm-hmm. And we're also going to bring on another guest later that's going to talk about her company and the products, the CBD-based products for inflammation and
chronic pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me personally, I always like a natural remedy. I've never taken medications with any of my conditions. And I'm getting to the point now where I completely understand why people take medications, because my pain on some mornings, I literally can't walk. And so, you have to do what is best for you, what gets you through your day by day.
Right.
You have to do what's best for your family unit and for your quality of life. And for me, swimming is my medication. And when I don't swim, I become the Tin Man, literally.
Yeah, well said, because for me, it's exercise, and it's also mental health, really reframing more of a positivity, surrounding myself with people that are going to be helpful, not cause more agitation and stress. I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that. I know when you're in suffering or you're in pain, you still are a mom. You're a mom. You're always a mom. And you've got to, keep going and help your children. So, but I do believe exercise is really, really important. It keeps me going. Lately I've been biking and lifting weights. And then my serenity, my place of serenity is the beach at sunset. So that's the mind, body, soul kind of thing.
Absolutely. And so we're going to put up a image right now, and this is some things that might trigger fibromyalgia. I know most of these I agree with 100%. I can't read that from here.
But I do remember a couple of the items on the list was weather-based, heat,
right,
hormonal changes.
For sure, stress. We know that stress is a major trigger. I think for me, if I get any kind of a sickness, cold, whatever, I'm going to have a flare. But stress, anxiety, I think it's number one.
There was another one on there that was really, I think it's really you. It's about sleep disturbances.
Oh, for sure.
For not getting your sleep.
If you even have, I mean, what most special needs parents get very, very interrupted sleep. And I mean, it's just another trigger.
And then I know for me, when I'm not feeling well, it's really based on what I've eaten. So foods, if I'm drinking too much caffeine or if I've had too much red wine or, different kinds of foods can trigger a flare up. And I think that was the original.
Well, I noticed on that list, and I meant to say which one of the things that goes hand in hand with fibromyalgia, unfortunately, is the gut factor, is the brain gut tie.
And I was just going to say the gluten was, I'm not an authority on gluten, but I thought that was really an agitation for the gut that would cause inflammation in the body. Also,
for sure.
Cheese,
I think that goes back to what each person is sensitive to, because some people can tolerate things and some other people can't. I tried the complete gluten-free, casein-free for years. Didn't help me at all.
It didn't.
It was, for me, it's, it's the stress triggered gut issues. It's the fibromyalgia and the stress. So each person is so unique.
And I know it's so simple, but one little technique you can do anywhere you are is your deep breathing and really calming your body down. And yesterday at Camp Ed, it was so beautiful watching the staff teach the young, not young campers, they're the young
mostly
adults.
Teens and adults.
How to breathe and how to deep breathe and how to really slow your body down to provide calm and mindfulness when you're at home or when you're with your family. And I think those techniques, those are more the organic techniques that would help.
We put up a picture of the kids were relaxing, and there was Claire de Lune playing, and they were looking up at the stars. And so that's the picture you're saying. But I'm anxious to bring in our first guest, because this woman is amazing. She's Shannon Penrod, the host of Autism Live. She's a good friend of Matt and I's and yours.
I've been on her show a couple times.
Of course.
It's been really, she's just a wealth of information and so smart.
And so Shannon and I talked many years ago about commiserating with each other about our chronic pain. And I think Shannon really speaks to what so many special needs people are going through. And it's we don't realize that we're in this together, and so many of us suffer with this chronic pain condition. So we're going to bring Shannon on now, and she's going to talk a little bit about this fun thing that we all are sharing.
Yeah. I remember after Jem was diagnosed, and I went to a conference, and at the end of the conference, they said they were talking about the immune system and autism and all these other things. And then they said, just as a thing, there's a lot of parents in the audience. Would all the parents who have some form of fibromyalgia or autoimmune disorder please stand up? And the entire audience stood up.
Wow.
And it was such, and I stood up because I had recently been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I looked around and I went, something's going on here. This is important. This is, and then shortly after that, I met you, Navah, and you voiced it, and you said exactly what you said at the beginning, where you said, if I don't exercise, I become the Tin Man.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that changed my life, because I hadn't put that together for myself. And that, thank you, because I was like, oh my gosh, she's right. I get rusty and I can't move. And the
It's
more
like
days I
atrophy. You feel like your muscles are atrophying. But even if you can't swim every day, even if you just do certain stretches, I know that somebody was telling me about, there's a type of Pilates that's specific to fibromyalgia
treatment.
Yes, and I can't think of the name. It's like myofascial.
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about? It's a very specific type of Pilates,
stretching.
but it literally is. And for me, Shannon, even being seated, I can't even sit down, because even if I am seated for lengths of time, then you have to restart your body.
Yeah.
And you know, there's multiple tests. Like you can go get that muscle test, the EMG test, that tests to see, is it your nerve conduction, is it your spine, where all of this is happening. And Navah and I were talking earlier about, is it chronic? And she said that she was told a few years ago that once your nerves are irritated and agitated, that you'll have this chronic condition. Because I was saying, could you reverse it? Could you find ways to have it slow down, maybe sort of be at least 30, 40, 50% less of an agitation on a daily basis? And then we talked about the chronic stress and trauma of
I think
special needs kids.
Yeah, I think that we can't, as parents, undo the main trigger in our lives. We love our triggers, but our kids are usually the main, our husbands too, for sure. I mean, let's be honest.
That could be anyone.
Much more than the kids, actually. But we can't get rid of these main triggers. So we have to learn how to deal with what we have. And what I was saying to Chrisa is, I've been to a lot of experts, and they say that unless you can undo the main trigger, you're going to always have this chronic condition, because the nerves have almost been fried.
But you know what I wonder about that? I mean, I don't, not to diss what you just said, but to clarify, I don't think that our kids and our husbands are the trigger. I think worrying about them is the trigger.
Yes.
I think that worrying about, are they going to be okay? Is everything going to work out? I think that's what certainly what I tend to stress about. And I think we can eliminate or make that less with some of the things that Chris is always talking about. A couple of weeks ago, when she was talking about, what are you doing to lower your stress? And I said, I'm binge watching things on Netflix.
Yeah.
The look on Chris's face, she was like, well, that might not be the best.
But that works for you. And that's absolutely where my profession comes in, the mental well-being and processing and talking to a clinician and being able to talk about what it is that you ruminate over and what you continually circular thinking and your anxiety. And it's exactly what you said, that thinking about and worrying about your family. And so how do you shift that thinking? How do you lessen it? And if it's Netflix, then that's great.
As long as it's things that because I know that so many of us as special needs parents, we tend to go to things that make us feel good in the moment. It's like, well, I'll worry about that later, so I'm going to have this bottle of wine, or I worry about that later, and I'm going to have this box of donuts or whatever. And because, you're in this high stress world, you're more prone to these things that feel good at the time, but in the long run, they just make your fibro worse.
Yes. And I have to say, that list of things that you had up there, a lot of the things that were on that list are things that make my fibro worse. I can't be in the sun anymore. I have to be covered in sunscreen, or it feels like somebody's taken a baseball bat to me the next day. I literally can't move, and it feels like the flu, and it's terrible. But I think that stress is the other big one. And earlier this summer, we all lost a really good friend, Joanne Lara. And I found that after the lead up to that and afterwards, I just have to tell on myself that I was like, this is not going well for me. That physically, I didn't feel well. Mentally, I didn't feel well. And I was like, I can sit in this or I can get help for myself. And I started therapy. And I just want to say to everybody like that's out there, if you're thinking about that, run, don't walk. I mean, you know, people in Chris's profession can help us. And it's not that it's gone away for me, but I feel like I'm managing all of that stress in a much healthier way than just saying, I know, let's watch everything on Netflix.
Right.
And you know, Shannon, you guys would be surprised. I mean, people think, what is the goal here? Or they're driving to the session, they're like, what am I possibly going to talk about today? And all of a sudden, just so much is just opened up and so much is able to just be released. And next thing you know, we're diving in really deep, getting into some stuff that the client didn't even know that they were thinking or feeling. And it's really when you surrender and you can open yourself up and be honest in your accountability with yourself and feel that transparency, you could really find out what is making you stuck, what is keeping you in that high stress position or the constant worry.
Well, like Shannon was saying, you know, this was one thing after the other, and the
Pile on.
destroyer of losing somebody that we love so much.
In COVID.
In a pandemic.
You can't do what you would normally do.
It was the straw that broke a lot of backs. And so on that note, let's all talk about that. You can get counseling here at the Ed Asner Family Center. You can get counseling if you can't afford, I mean, literally, if you can afford to get Starbucks every day, you can afford to come and get counseling. And one is better than the other, isn't it?
For sure.
So
and
how
Shannon,
can they do that?
One of the things that we just did is we've hired more licensed clinicians. So we have licensed clinicians. We also have an associate MFT who's getting his hours. And I think he's going to be a great addition to our team here. And also we're taking insurance. So we're just getting started. We have like Beacon and Kaiser and SAG and Cigna, and we're just getting started with insurance. So people can start to use their insurance and just utilize their copay. So
Shannon, I applaud you. I think that everyone who gets to that point, you're not, I mean, it's the same analogy that we talk about all the time. How much better of a parent as an advocate you're going to be for your child if you take care of yourself first.
No kidding.
And you know, I'm constantly telling everyone that, and I'm the worst client because I'm hearing you, and I'm going to call my therapist because I definitely need it. I've definitely broken a few times in the last month, and all of this, you know, as we're going back to our topic, all of this has caused. I was telling Chrisa that I you know, I don't even want to think of this kind of horror, but I felt like I had MS. I keep saying to Matt, I need to be tested for MS because I keep standing up and falling down because my pain is so great that I go numb.
I had the same thought a couple of weeks ago and was like, I don't know, maybe it's not fibro, maybe it's MS. I get worried because sometimes you know, you have symptoms.
Well, I mean, so many of these symptoms
they're
that, and the numbness and the fibro fog, which for some people, remember we were talking about COVID has its own fibro fog like brain. So we're in this constant, battle with our bodies. I tell my kids all the time. The other day, Wolfie, I'm leaving. I'm walking away from him, and he's like, "Mom, what's wrong with you? Why are you walking like an old man?" And I was like, "Because I'm old and I'm broken and I'm turning into the Tin Man."
No, but you know what's interesting? As you guys were talking, I was thinking that a lot of the autoimmune disorders really have cross symptoms, and so it's really hard to say, "Oh, which one do I have?" I remember years ago, the doctor wanted to diagnose me with lupus, and then, is it MS? Or these like little,
I think that's a pretty common one, is that
diagnosis. But I mean, and I had experienced Lyme disease, but I was treated very quickly. I was really lucky. And so
we have a lot of listeners out here who also have Lyme. And I mean, I know that if you read Medical Medium, he says that Lyme is all part of I won't even get into that.
But it's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's so much crossover. It's really difficult because Nava often says to me, "Do you have fibro?" And I'm like, "No, I don't have the."
But your symptoms are.
My symptoms.
But then you look at somebody like Shannon, and she has a very severe reaction to the sun. And to me, when my pain is really bad, I go out like a lizard. I go and lay in the sun, and that actually heals my pain.
Yes.
So each person
summer,
has a
winter,
different, right? They have
different.
a different version of this condition.
Shannon, can I ask how long you have been seeing the therapist?
It's only been like since Joanne passed. It's like 4 or 5 weeks here now.
What do you feel like? What do you feel?
That's pretty personal.
Well, no,
I opened the door. I feel like it has helped me, and I'll tell you, part of what's been going on in COVID, I think beyond the fact that I could see very clearly that there was all the normal ways that I would have grieved my friend Joanne were gone for me.
Yes.
Like I would have been over taking care of her. I would have been with, in friends' arms. We would have been cooking. We would have had community. All of that was gone for me. And so I knew I needed to do something else. And, I have friends, I have good friends, and I'm open and I talk with my friends, but everybody's going through things right now. And it felt like to talk about what I was going through more than just the cursory, because we were all losing Joanne, right? Felt like an added burden on other friends who were going through losing other family members on top of Joanne. Yeah. So what it did for me, and my poor husband, who, he has to hear all the things from me anyway. I felt like I was making him my therapist. And when I got the therapist, I had a safe place where I could just say whatever I wanted to, not hurt anybody's feelings, not have to consider the therapist's well-being of what she's going through, a place where I could just say how I felt. And having that outlet has been so good for me.
That's so wonderful.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that.
You inspire so many other people to do this thing that, there's so many people that need it. And there's so many people that have a million excuses why they're not going to do it today. And can I tell you,
there's so many things about COVID that seriously suck, right? That we can't even list, right? But there are a couple of pluses. And one of the pluses is that there is telehealth available for most people through their insurance. And that, for me, it always used to be so difficult if I was going to do a therapy appointment, because I've done it before. And, you got to leave work and you drive across town, and then, you have all your feelings and you got to drive back to work. And it's so nice to be able to telehealth in, have my appointment, be done, and I didn't have to go anywhere. And a lot of places right now are waiving the copay. So that's been, really remarkable. So I just, if anybody's out there, I say, call. You don't even, on most insurance, you don't have to get a referral. You just call and ask for the mental health. Right. But if you're in Southern California, you've got Chrisa and her team. It's like, what a great thing that is.
And
anywhere in California.
Telehealth as well.
We do telehealth here. We're set up for it. And, Matt will put up, our producer, Matt, he'll put up our information that you can reach out, phone or email. But I think one of the key things you said too is when you don't have to worry about the other person, like you were using your husband as your mini therapist, which you all use spouses, family members to bend their ear. But when you have a therapist that you're working with, you just can bring it all. Let's just bring it all. And that therapist will be, trained to hold that space for you in the room. And hopefully you'll leave with less stress, processing more of your life, and leaving with some tools and techniques or some awareness about yourself that's going to shift that stress level and, start to reduce some of these things that we're talking about
that are causing the pain.
I'm so about mind, body, and soul. Well, soul, that's my thing, but mind, body connection is so apparent, right? I mean, look at when you talk about when you're feeling better and happier and less stress, your body.
Well, I think the beginning part of the pandemic, if you remember, it was either raining or cold and overcast. And so I felt like I was 105 years old. I mean, I was literally freezing cold, in pain all the time. We couldn't swim. The little glimpse of the sun, you would all run out. And so to me, as soon as it became summer, I went from, completely one person to another. And, I have nothing to complain about because there's sun and there's a pool and everything else I can deal with, really. But
I had forgotten that it was like there was 10 days in the beginning.
Oh, there was, you remember that? That's when Aviva built Eddie an entire
10.
That's amazing.
She literally built a room full of cardboard Amazon boxes because everything we were getting was from Amazon. And she built him a whole castle that she lit up and everything because it was raining for 10 days.
That's right.
If we ever have to do this again, I want to have to shelter in place with Aviva.
Yes.
Because she makes it so much fun. All the things I see you guys doing, it's so much fun.
So creative.
And Shelby, if Shelby's there to cook, my goodness, you guys have had it good.
And you know what? It's part of my mental well-being to be here because I feel so isolated that coming here, it really does put a skip in my step.
It does.
I feel so much better to see everybody. She's
but
like, she's a burst of sunshine.
Once we started coming back, we really, I mean, it really makes you, you get a totally different mindset when you're in the center and you see, especially now with camp going.
Yeah.
But I want to talk a little bit. I don't know if Shannon has tried topical pain relief.
No.
So we're going to bring on another mom who is also another autism mom. And I met Shifra many years ago, and I wanted Shifra and Shannon to connect. And Shifra has created this incredible range of products that are CBD and pure because they have to be regulated by the kosher regulation, which is very strict. But she has a product that is a liquid. It's called Sunrise, and I think it's life-changing because it helps you with your stress. It helps you with the gut issues. It helped me. Let me just say that, especially with kind of like mood changes and stuff like that. And I think that, I'm terrified to take anything. I always think I'm going to have a freak out from a adverse reaction. And Shifra calmed me down. But the thing that we're talking about today, and we're bringing Shifra is on with us now, is this incredible product that it's a topical CBD for chronic pain. And we have Shifra Zip Klein. Did I pronounce that right?
You did great.
Hi, Shifra.
Hi, ladies.
So Shifra, we have Shannon. Shannon is the host of Autism Live, and we're all in this boat together. We're all part of this tribe, and part of being in this tribe means we all have chronic stress, and a lot of us suffer with this chronic pain. So tell us a little bit about the balm, because that's the product that I really think can help a lot of people with fibromyalgia.
And I can say this is the one that I really have been using, and I've noticed, I've just been using it for a few days. I've noticed a difference already.
Yeah, using it more than once. Some people put it on and they wait, and they're not getting the results they're looking for. When we're dealing with inflammation, especially chronic inflammation, you need to use something more than once to help that inflammation down. So it's really critical when you're trying to do this topically, especially, and not internally, that you're going to want to use it even more than once a day and for multiple days in a row. You may have breaks in between where you're feeling great and your inflammation has gone down. So it's just key to remember, keep an idea of when you're using it, how often you're using it, to get an idea how your body's reacting to it. So there are a lot of people that prefer topicals rather than ingesting something. And the reason is for various reasons. One of them, like you said, you were nervous to ingest something, which is very normal, a normal reaction. Another reason may be you're on a certain medication already, and some pharmaceuticals do not mix well with CBD products. So that's something definitely to speak to your physician before you would take any supplement in general. I was listening to the conversation before I got to come in, and it's just something that we're all dealing with right now. We deal with it in general, but like you all said, right now, it just seems to be heightened. Because of COVID. We're seeing a lot of things that we normally don't see in a lot of patients that are contacting us. And that's because, our kids are home.
Yeah.
Our kids are off schedule. The routine is different. They're not getting the therapies that they're used to and, they really need. And a lot of that is manifesting in different types of behaviors or regression and all of those things that we put our hearts and souls into to advocate for our kids is kind of like in a reversal, and that can be very stressful.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What age group are these products for all ages or?
Yes. So the products are safe for all ages. They're all natural products. They are sent out for third-party lab testing. So we know exactly the amount of milligrams. Our products, our topicals have 300 milligrams of CBD in it. You cannot overdose on this type of product. It does not enter your bloodstream, but it will enter your tissue, which is great for inflammation.
Right.
So we're talking about inflammation and all these heightened feelings that we're all feeling. Our cortisol levels are off. And then when our body's, getting back to homeostasis, that's when we see this inflammation arise. So we have a lot of people that are suffering from anxiety now that maybe it wasn't so heightened before COVID with all these extra added things. And they'll find it happening in their neck, stress tension in their shoulders, tight jaw muscles. Our irregular aches and pains that we're used to getting are so much heightened. Our knees, our ankles, our wrists, our fingers, all of these things that we normally have, it just seems exasperated. I wanted to share with you that there was a situation that happened this past week that maybe some of you know about because we're all here in Los Angeles. Shannon, are you here in LA with us?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So there was a special needs man that had disappeared this week. Thank God he was found safe. One of my youngest, my daughter, actually works with this man at the Edit Israel Center. And she found it very imperative, she's 13, to go and be a part of the search party.
Right.
So I took her out and we proceeded for that. And thank God he was found right when we got started. That night, I had a tremendous anxiety attack because, my biggest fear is losing my son, who's 15 years old, who is not safety aware. He cannot cross the street by himself. He does, it would be a big issue. And there's all these little things that come up that we as parents tend to, we don't have time to think about these things. We have to take care of our family. We have to run, I'm a female a business owner. We all have things that take up our day. But all these little things settle, and they bubble up. And I think during COVID, between watching the news, obsessing on the news and all these things that are happening with our children, all these things really take a toll on our bodies. So the idea of using a topical is that it's going to help with your inflammation. We do have natural terpenes in these products. Terpenes are natural hydrocarbons that are found in plants, specifically in cannabis. And what these terpenes do, they not only determine the smell of your cannabis, the taste of your cannabis, they also determine the effect that you're going to get. So if you were to walk into a dispensary and ask for a certain strain, that strain wouldn't be necessarily the amount of THC to CBD in it. It would be the terpene profile that's found in that plant. And that terpene profile will determine if it helps you with like hyperfocusing, or if it helps you with your inflammation, or if it's going to help you with your sleep. So what we do is at Mitzvah, we use journals, medical journals and studies that have already proven what these terpenes are capable of, because there's a lot more studies on terpenes actually than on CBD and cannabis, because it was outlawed for so long that we're now just starting to see these type of studies being done legally in this country. Israel is way ahead of where we are. So all of our formulas, like our balm, for example, it has 12 terpenes in here. So these terpenes are all studied terpenes that are proven to help with inflammation. And using them together actually works synergistically with the CBD, making the CBD stronger and more effective. So
I think I've tried a lot of different topicals, and this by far smells the best. I think a lot of times you'll use something and then you'll be like, I just can't use that because it's the
Yeah.
smell is weird.
It might smell like the front lawn.
Yeah, even if you buy, I mean, some of them are really, really expensive.
Mhm.
And then you try it one time and you're like, and I've
I'm out.
had so many
Yeah.
that I've tried that I just, the smell is so unpleasant.
Right.
And
Well,
I
now-
try to mask
yeah.
it. and stuff, but
What's
this,
interesting is the smell of our products. This is our body butter. You can see it's a really creamy consistency,
yeah, it's very, very
which
thick.
is really, really fun because it's a great moisturizer as well. And it's all natural moisturizer. We manufacture our own products. We're not a white label company. So we know exactly where we're sourcing, how we're sourcing it, making sure it's ethical companies that we're getting our ingredients from, and everything is clean and tested. It's tested before we use it, all of our products, and then it's tested after it's created in our facility. What's interesting is we're one of the few companies that are not using fragrance. And that's a huge issue, fragrance with special needs children. And it's also for people just that have allergies or sensitivities in general. So the smell that you're smelling is just plant. Those are the natural plant terpenes.
The one smells really strongly of,
body butter.
I thought maybe it had oranges in it.
The body butter.
Yeah.
So exactly. So one of the main ingredients in there is limonene, which is the terpene that's found in many cannabis strains. It is also found in citrus. So that's what that smell is coming from. It's an all natural product. We don't use any synthetics. A lot of companies are using synthetic products. And it was a huge issue for me having a child with autism, trying to stay away from dyes and synthetics and fragrances because I really started this for my kids with special needs who needed it. And it just ended up, thriving into really helping a lot of people.
Can I ask you a question? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because I'm allergic to so many things and I have a topical reaction sometimes. So where can I go to look and see what the ingredients are to see if it's something I could even try?
Yeah.
Because I tend to be so phobic about topical.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Let's put up the website.
We have a website. Yeah, we have a website. It's mitzvahwellness.com. It's interesting that you just brought that up because another point I wanted to bring out is a lot of times when we're dealing with chronic stress, some of that inflammation will come out on our skin. We'll have more breakouts. We'll suffer from eczema, psoriasis, red skin. Exactly. So this will help with that.
Yeah.
This will help with that as well.
That's awesome.
Okay, but where? So on the website we can look at all the ingredients.
Yeah, the website is up there on the screen, mitzvahwellness.com. And that is our list of ingredients. Everything's up there. Our lab testing is up there as well. So you can check that out. Definitely.
And I happen to have a brochure, but it was so informative for you to describe what the terpenes are.
Yeah.
There's at least 18 listed on this pamphlet, and it lists antifungal or best for memory or antibacterial or microbial.
Antimicrobial, yeah.
I mean, this was really helpful to look at, and hopefully this is on your website too.
It is.
But
Schiffer, did you hear what Shannon said at the beginning of the show where she was at a conference for special needs parents and they said anybody in the audience have autoimmune
And everyone.
That's crazy. I mean, it seems like everywhere I go, I'm talking to another special needs parent who says, "Oh, I have fibro too." And I think a lot of the dads, I think a lot of the dads don't even think about it, but they also have a form of fibromyalgia, and they're the ones that really, either they're not admitting it or that we just, mark it up to being
Can I tell you that in the beginning, when I just had the pain, it didn't occur to me to go to the doctor for that. I just thought I was getting old and that I was fat and old, and those are the things that happens when you're fat and old. And then when I had to go to the doctor for other symptoms, and she started doing the test for me, and she would press on certain places, and I would go, "Oh, that really hurts. Don't do that." And she would say, "That's not supposed to hurt." And I was probably 43 at that time. And I said, "I thought that was just being old." And she said, 43 isn't old. You're not supposed to be in pain all the time. And I didn't know that. So I don't know if there's anybody else out there that doesn't know that. We're not supposed to be in pain all the time, you guys.
yeah.
And not everyone has those fibro marks, because I know that I don't know if you've seen, there's a chart where it's the body and there's the fibro marks, and I don't have that. I have pain everywhere. But a lot of people have, that specific area of marks. And I think the first thing to do is get diagnosed, so you know that because we want to rule out the serious stuff that Shannon and I are sure we have because we're hypochondriac. But and I am going to get tested for that because I just want to rule that out too. But this is something that once you understand what's going on, you know that you can either treat it naturally, which I always try to do first, but then there are medications. If you want to go down that route, there are medications that are effective for fibromyalgia. I don't know. I can't think of one offhand, but I mean, there are.
Well, I mean, the big one has been, there's been so much discussion about, because that was the one drug that everybody thought might be helpful for COVID. Because they're used, what's it, hydrochlora, whatever. But for those of us in the autoimmune community, we were all prescribed Plaquenil. That's the same thing. It is the same thing, and it has some very nasty side effects. I would just encourage everybody, before you take that drug, make sure you check what it is and check the side effects, because it has some nasty side effects.
And that's why I had a freak out in front of Shifra, because I think everything I'm gonna have a freak out from. And I read I still have my dad's old Merck manual. So I read all the side effects, and and by the way, migraines. That's another thing. We didn't even bring that up. So, I've had migraines, debilitating migraines, where I'm throwing up since I was probably 6 years old, and I'm never taken a migraine medication because I read the side effects. I'm terrified of migraine medication, and now they're little kids take that medication.
Yeah.
Right. What's interesting is I actually posted on the Mitzvah Wellness Facebook page today. There is a article in Forbes magazine from this week that scientists in Israel have discovered that certain terpenes are very effective for inflammation in COVID patients. So much more so than the medications that they're already prescribing for COVID patients. So that's a huge breakthrough in regards to terpenes. It's really incredible. It's on Forbes.com, and also it's on our website. I'm sorry, not on our website. It's on our Facebook page, Mitzvah Wellness.
I want to read that. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Okay.
Israel is always ahead of its time. Can we just say?
Definitely.
Oh, what amazing information we got today. And I think I just want to say again, I love you, Shannon, and I'm so proud of you, because you instant it all. I mean, just to say that everyone is going through what they're going through, and nobody knows what the other person is going through. And if you feel like you've reached your limit, then don't wait for your breaking point.
Right.
Let's call Chrisa, get some support. And please go to mitzvahwellness.com and try this wonderful products that Shifra has created.
But I also want to say, if you find something, stick with it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. But also, you have to work a plan too. Sometimes I see clients just go, yes, that sounds great, I'll get on it. And they're not working a plan. And you really have to, maybe, I know if you're not feeling well, you have to really push yourself forward.
Yeah.
And I even noticed myself doing that in the pandemic, struggling with this or that. And I really have to stay in your strength and in your empowerment. Call a friend or
definitely
ask for help.
Especially if you're in pain and you're like Shannon and I were talking about, when you're hurting, the last thing in the world you want to do is do something physical. And the thing is, if you push yourself and you push through the pain, you actually feel better in the end after you do something a little physical, so we don't become the Tin Men.
Yeah.
But, please reach out to your support group.
Yeah.
Don't sit home alone and suffer. There's so many of us that have this condition, and there's a ton.
Can I say one thing about that? That we all of us, that are special needs moms, the thing that's the most important to us is our kids, right? And a lot of times we put ourselves on a back burner, but we forget
100%.
that we're modeling the behavior. And if we want to raise kids, even special needs kids that know how to take care of themselves and how to advocate for themselves, then we need to be modeling that behavior. You can't give away what you don't have. And if you're so stressed that you're having a hard time and that you're feeling these pains and all of these things, you're not going to be as effective taking care of your kids. So model behavior, show them that you're taking care of yourself, whatever that looks like, but let your kids see that.
Right.
I think they get it.
100%. Tell Jem that I miss him so much at
He
camp.
loves
I
you.
wish he was here, and it's just not the
He
same
does
without
too.
him. It's not the
He
same
wishes
without
he
him.
was there too, but we're watching virtually and seeing what you
Yes.
guys are doing and
And
loving
we have
it.
something very special to watch tomorrow. I don't want to give away the surprise, but Camp Ed is going to do something very special for a very, very special man's birthday tomorrow, and you definitely want to watch tomorrow. Do we know what time that's going to be on? At 11:50. You have to watch Facebook Live. We're going to have something really special at Camp Ed Mini Camp tomorrow.
Right.
But thank you, ladies. Thanks so much
Thank
for
you,
coming on
girls,
the show.
and
Thanks for having us.
stay safe
And healthy.
Definitely keep moving. Don't become the Tin Man.
Yes.
But I want everyone to just write to us and let us know how you're doing. And if you need some support, please reach out to Chrisa. We don't send anybody away based on the ability to pay. And
There's the information.
one more time. So give us a call and get some help and let us support you in any way we can.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
See you next Tuesday. Hi, I'm Navah Paskowitz-Asner. I'm the founder of the Ed Asner Family Center. Did you know that we have counseling services here at the center? And our goal is to not send families away based on their ability to pay. This is my mental health director.
Hi, I'm Chrisa Saad. I'm the licensed marriage family therapist, and we have availability for telehealth sessions. We also take insurance and private pay sliding scale. So please give me a call at 818-855-2199.
Take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. Call us today.